Hey guys,
All right, welcome
welcome
to
to
the
the podcast.
welcome.
I'm Tiffany Pfeiffer.
And I'm Sandy Couch. Brandon won't be joining us today. He's taking a little break, But we're gonna keep it going, have some fun. Got a lot of guests coming on, so we look forward to that. But today we're gonna have a really interesting topic of what us teenagers, Tiffany's 16, I'm 15, what we think about sex, what we've heard about it, like most of the ins and outs. Not gonna be going into depth or anything like that, but just a nice umbrella.
Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna start off with like what we know about how to protect ourselves in general, because that's in my opinion, that's very important. Because unplanned pregnancies change your life, and in some, I wouldn't say ruin, but they change your life for very dramatically, and you will not have the same life, and you will not have the same opportunities as a single person going into the real world compared to not. So I guess to start off, I think when it comes to with protection and stuff, it should be a two-way street in general. Like, both people need to be taking all the precautions necessary and to make sure everyone is protected.
For sure. I think that it's a lot of pressure to put on like one person, and if it doesn't work, then are you gonna blame that person? Like, how does this? I think I agree with you. Like, it's a two-way street, and I think the pressure is put on the girls most often, like to taking birth control, to uh do there's many different forms of it. So it's kind of like do something. I feel like is really expected of people, but I think that I don't think that our school system taught us very well about here's all the different forms, and it's there's a lack of information being given out. I think that it was just I don't know about you, but my school was very abstinent, and that's it. That's all you need to know.
Like, they said there were different forms, but they didn't go in detail and stuff. And some of the forms they explained are very extensive, and it's not like we can. You're looking at a bunch of broke teenagers. It's not like we can protect ourselves. So I gotta say, I can't say too much as I'm not active or at all. But looking at all the things I do know about it, I'm thankful that my parents took the step of being good parents and kind of said, say when you do become active and stuff, here's these might be some options. We're not going to go too in detail, but when we'll cross the bridge when we get there.
Yeah, agreed. I'm not active. It's just for me. It's not something that I think that a teenager really needs to be doing. I understand the interest in it for some people because it's very you don't need to be doing that, so we're not going to tell you that much. I think my parents are just kind of if my mom she's very let's just not do that. The smartest thing would just to not do that.
Yeah.
Just I know.
I got the comment from my parents that when you don't want it, once you get into the world, you can't get back out. You can't go back. And then they kind of show me this video called "The Problem with Pineapples," and it pretty much explained that when it does happen, you get a connection to every single person that it happens with, and that it's serious. And that's why for most religions, it's a very serious thing.
Mm-hmm. I think that in our day and age, we see people on social media and all these different platforms, and they're very open about their sexuality. You know that they've slept with a lot of people, or they openly admit it, and they're just kind of it's just who I am. I think that that's personal choice, but it's just kind of as your everyday person right here, it's just not. It's something that I think when it's made out to be so special, that first time, I think you want to do it with somebody who's special too. I don't think it's just kind of I want to experience things because I'm a teenager and I get that a lot, but it's like I would rather experience it in a really like important place with somebody that I can trust and like somebody that like I don't know if it doesn't have to be their first time too, but like as long as somebody else is like understanding of like I'm new to this, like I think you're good.
Mhm.
So it's not something that like you can just I mean, for some people it is something that they're just kinda like, this doesn't really mean a lot to me. And I feel bad for those people that like don't have that mindset. But
Yeah.
in general I think that like it's like it doesn't have to be just about like having a kid. Like it doesn't have to just be about procreating. And I think um a lot of schools kind of make it out to be like don't do this unless you're trying to make a baby. And it's like we have these contraceptives and we have things to like prevent these, but none of them work 100% of the time. Um, and I think that scares a lot of people. I think it rightfully should. But it's definitely, I think it's interesting to like see people our age's opinion about this because it's a very broad, it's a broad spectrum of thoughts, and we're not really told that like hey if you think that that's something that's like not that important to you that's okay like it's just kind of like absence or nothing like don't do it or do it like it's really, I think there's a very vague opinion about it.
Yeah, because like it shouldn't be we shouldn't be just because one person thinks it's important doesn't mean the next person has to. It's just having the mutual respect that it may be important to someone else and that it's not just some sort of transaction or anything.
For
That
sure.
understanding different point of views would make life society a whole lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, I think that like, for
when it
me
comes
it's like
to the topic.
I see it as like your virginity like as this like valuable thing, and when you lose it like to me it's like stock, it's like depreciating stock. So like um the less people that buy that item or that thing, the stock value is going to go down. And that's the way I see it. Like the more people that you let in, the more people that let see you at such a vulnerable stage, or like that's a very vulnerable thing to do or a very intimate thing to do. So I think the more people that you know on that intimate level, the less important it is. I think that's a really hard thing for some people to comprehend. But it's a very like
Yeah.
if you're it's a very touchy situation, I guess. Like
Yeah, very touchy.
I mean it's a really personal thing. So, whatever decision you choose that's yours, and don't let anybody really influence that. Definitely educate yourself what you're doing and like stuff like that. But I just think that like as teenagers we're not informed of what's right and what's wrong. We're just told why something is right and why something is wrong, and we're not given the facts, not the details. And I think that's what makes so many people like really curious in it. They're just like, hey, this is something I'm told not to do, so I'm gonna go do it. It's the same thing with drugs. Same thing. You can become addicted to it just like drugs. I mean, it's
And the
interesting.
more, yeah,
Yeah, I think that it's definitely like a two-way street, and
definitely. And when it does come to protection, it should be a two-way street. This is two people, persons are involved, and both should be taking the precautions to be protected. Like every precaution that there can be should be, unless you want a child.
yeah. Um, I think it's like I think it's a thing that like we as humans can do, and I think it's the same. I hate referring it to drugs, but it's like the same thing as drugs. It's kind of like too much of it is is not always considered bad. Like um
Mm-hmm.
some people have their body count is like over 500, you know, and if that's you and that's what, you know, works for you, then go for it, I guess. But I just don't think it's like an everyday person kind of thing to just
Hmm.
sleep with everyone. But I mean, I think it's like to each their own. But I think that like people our age need
Yeah.
to be educated on the fact that like, hey, you know, like every time you do that, it's going to become less and less special, and it's not going to come as important.
Yeah.
And you know, when you get married, and that's not that you have to get married or anything, but I don't really want to get married, but like I know that for like some people when they get married and like, you know, they save themselves for that person, there's just such a like a moment that happens. I think that's cool. I think that's cool for some people.
And like I said earlier, from the way it's been explained to me, it's like you get an emotional connection with that person, like in a more spiritual way. Your soul connects with that soul, and you're always going to have that connection, whether you care about them 20 years from now or not. There's going to always be that connection, and I feel like that should be like clearly, even if society makes it seem like it's just some random transaction, like why is there so many laws and stuff about consent if it's just a simple transaction of some
Mhm.
between two humans?
I
Like
know
I
that.
feel like if there's a reason why everyone needs why there's consent laws and stuff. So it should be taught that this isn't just some that the that there needs to be we need to be taught and learned about it, because clearly we it's been so in our human race for thousands of years, who knows, millions. For as long as there's been human race, there's been that.
I mean, that's how we reproduce. Like it's. I think that like some people can see it as, this is how we make babies, and other people can see it as like this is a really like this is a moment. Like this is something that's like really intimate, like really special. Um, I definitely think that like uh, if you if it doesn't mean that much to you, and like spending time with someone means more to you, I get that. Like for some people, it's just not. Um, some people it's not pleasurable, and some people don't like it, and that's totally chill. I really wish that like our school system doesn't tell you that it's okay to like not be into the opposite sex. And I think that's really important because a lot of people like don't know that you can still get like STDs and STIs from that. Um, Even if you're like just doing it with the same gender, like it's still like there's still a lot of like um discrimination like or lack of knowledge being given out. And I mean, what about the people that are asexual that are just they don't find interest in it and they don't that's not something that they like, and I nobody teaches them that it's okay, um but it is. So I think
Like
that we need to have a lot better information being given out because then we might not run into as many
as many
unplanned
problems.
as many problems or unplanned pregnancies or people getting things that they can't get rid of ever because they
Yeah,
just didn't know.
yeah, and it's the schools and stuff should, if we're going to have so many laws about it, we should know more about it, like know how to protect ourselves, know what we need to know. Like a just run through isn't going to do anything. And
Yeah.
what about, and like even if you're in it seems like it's just the public schools, and even then some public schools skip over it.
I mean, also like merging my health class like about like wellness and nutrition along with like spending like a day or two on sex ed is just not it's that's not how you help people. I think that when telling somebody not to do something is going to make them want to do it more, but educating someone on what they're
Yeah.
wanting to do or what they're interested in is going to help everyone a lot further down the road. I think that's like one reason I want to do this video because it was like, I mean, uh if you kind of look at like you look on YouTube and there's all these girls like the first time I did it, like story times and stuff like that. A lot of them were like I had no idea that I needed to do this, or that that was going to happen, or that was okay. And I think that, like, if we taught these things, then we wouldn't have to run into those problems, or people wouldn't have the need to, like, really seek it out.
Yeah, if we talk, it's like if society had talked things through and like made it completely normal for anything that happens, that you're fine, it's normal, you're not gonna be sent to prison for this. You're not in trouble. It's fine.
I think it's a really iffy situation to talk about, though. I mean, like, putting this video out was kind of like, hey, like, we're two teenagers, and here's what we think and what we've heard and what I wish I was told and what I wish I knew years ago, and stuff like that. I just think that, like, if people were informed, life would be a lot easier for everyone.
Yeah. So I gotta say, I was informed a lot younger than most other people, but that was just because I was about 9 when someone in my family was about 17 when they had their first child, and it was more of a thing my parents wanted us to know. The whole birds and the bees thing didn't just fly by at that time.
My parents,
as very intelligent kids, we knew something was up, especially with that person also being in a very toxic relationship. We were just told that if we ever get started, which we should wait till we're older, much older, but like it's a very sensitive topic, but we will be informed more when we're older and stuff.
My parents technically never gave me the birds and bees talk, I guess. And I'm 15. I mean, I don't really think I need it. But my mom was always like, you know, like, I always, my school sent home, like, a paper, like, sign this if you don't want your kid to sit in the classroom during these videos, or, like, when we talk about this and stuff like that. And my mom, so, like, she was very, I always kind of hoped that she would sign those, because at the time I was like, I don't need to know about this. This is not something that I plan to do. It's not something I want to do. Like, it's just not something I'm really interested in right now. At the age of, like, 13, you know, like 14, maybe even 12, it's not something I was interested in. I was like,
I remember they started making us sit I remember being forced to start sitting through the videos in 3rd grade, but it wasn't. Yeah, they had like puberty was pretty much the thing. Videos they started, and then like the next year they went a little further than they did last year. They're like, if something happens, go to the office.
Yeah,
it was pretty much 3rd grade with like a short video on what might happen when puberty starts, and then this 4th grade, like you got a little deeper into it, and 5th grade you got a little deeper into it, and then 6th grade, it's like, bam, don't
really?
this don't do it. Absence best.
For me, it was like 4th grade. All the guys went to gym class, and all the girls got held back, or something like that. Like, we all, like, stayed, and we all watched this video about, like, hey, there might be blood flowing out of your vagina. Like, that was the topic. Like, that, like, there's a video on that. Do you have any questions? And we're all just like, what are you talking about? It was really funny.
Grade,
you go
and I also gotta say,
yeah.
Something my grandmother told me is, like, when she was in school, they didn't say anything about it. She literally just started bleeding one day and then thought she was dying. She literally thought she was dying. She ran to her teacher and said, I'm dying. She's freaking out. The whole class was staring at her. And the teacher said, stop talking. I'm sending you to the nurse now. You're all right.
Yeah.
Goes to the nurse, finds out what was going on.
Dang, man. Oh, no. That'd be so embarrassing.
I gotta say,
I would end myself there.
Like, compared to then, which I think it was like 60s, 70s. No, it would probably be like 50s. Either way, from at that point in time, for no one saying anything, for it being a very taboo subject to now 2020, it's a lot different. It's not as taboo. It's a lot more normal. It could improve in the normality, but I gotta say, compared to then,
Yeah.
at least we were given a heads up.
I think like for me, it was like 5th grade when like I was talking about like how you get taller and wider, stuff like that, you know. And then, you know, 6th grade didn't go all the way there. No. 6th grade was like 6th grade was, I distinctly remember we're watching a video and it's like they call it sex ed, but it was just about like it was basically just the guys sitting in on like how the female's body would change, and then we had to sit in on how theirs would change, like that, like in the same room, same time. And that was like the first time that like we're in the room together learning about each other growing. That is so disgusting. Like
I never got that.
Really?
None of the schools then again, I went to, all right, so I
you gotta dip your toes in a lot of different schools.
I did end up switching schools in middle school, so maybe when when one school did it, the other school didn't, and then we kind of switched.
Oh.
And then I skipped. I got to, actually, when sex ed happened at the school I ended up leaving, but coming back to, they did all in 7th grade and figured, you know what, since we talked about this in 7th grade, so we don't need to talk about it now.
Yeah.
We got that done and over it with. And I'm like, you talked about what?
Yeah.
And then it was like, you lucky duck, you missed out on all of it. I'm like, yep, I missed out on all of it.
Dang. I think 7th grade was like Sally likes Bobby. They're dating now. Like it was kind of like it's very
middle
cheesy.
School relationships are very confusing. Like they're pretty much the equivalent of kindergarten relationships, just they kiss.
I mean,
as if it's nothing. But even then, they're like, ooh.
Yeah, ooh, Sally likes Bobby. Ooh. Like, I thought, for me, it was 7th grade was very anticlimactic with the video. Luckily, I had one of my really good friends sitting next to me, and he was just hilarious and kind of made the situation more comfortable because he would, like, make jokes about it. And, like, but, they weren't awkward. It made it a lot more comfortable. I was like, see, I wish I had a teacher like that. Like, that, you know, it doesn't, like, not necessarily is like making fun of it the entire time or anything like that, but kind of like lightens the mood by making people laugh, because it is such an awkward thing sitting in a classroom next to two guys. I was surrounded by guys. I sat at a table of guys, and I'm the only chick sitting there, and I'm just like, please do not look at me. Like, when they show Sally's boobs, don't look at mine. Like, it's a very interesting situation, like, to be in. And I think 8th grade wasn't any better than 7th grade. It was just kind of like, if you're gonna do it, like, the teacher was very like, if you're gonna do it, use protection, and if not, just don't do it. Like, just. So it's very ironic.
And I also gotta say, like, you also run into problems with schools if they get behind in. If their health class gets behind, they're going to just skip over it because they don't find it as an important topic.
Yeah.
Because I think that was another pin factor why they didn't say anything during 8th grade here.
For sure.
And then, like, we go to a early college where we're in a tiny school. Like,
there is no sex ed
and
in high school.
At the time, we were only in school for 4 days a week. So they didn't really have time. And we don't have PE, so we
don't have PE.
They never, like,
we don't have a health class. And I think that for us, when we get that talk, like that 2-day talk or 1-day talk, whatever it's going to be, when we watch that video in high school, is going to be with our college.
Yeah. So we're going to
get the college version, which is not going to be abstinence. It's going to be use protection. And I think that's like,
it's probably going to be better.
Yeah, I think it's going to be better for, like, because I think people are at the age that we're at, and, you know, we're kind of 2 years ahead of other people our age. I feel like we're going to in the future, people might feel pressured to do it because they're like,
Yeah.
"Let me go on a junior," and I suck. Like, and I don't know. I definitely think that like teaching people, like, yes, there is such thing called abstinence, and you can just not do this, or you can at least take the responsibility of protecting yourself and others. And I think that people should push that a lot more than, I'm not even going to teach you about those other things because that you don't need to know it. You just need to not do it. Like, that's not an efficient way of teaching someone. So, and that's going to make people want to do it more. I'm just telling you now, psychology has a big effect on the pressure that you feel to do things. And like, if my parents tell me not to take my phone up to my room, I'm gonna do it. Like,
it's the adrenaline rush.
I'm breaking the rule. Like, that's the vibe. So, for sure. Well, good conversation. I like that.
Yeah, real talk.
Yeah, real talk, girl talk. It's
We
and
could
guy
title
talk
it
and guy talk.
Girl Talk.
Yeah, hashtag girl talk. I think it's, any final thoughts or anything?
I think we said it all.
Yeah.
Really.
Just, I think informing yourself if others aren't informing you properly and you want to know something, testing the waters is not the solution. I think taking the time to like research things and like figure out,
what's
really
the best option for you.
For sure, yeah. And also, birth control isn't just, people who take birth control aren't just taking it because they're having sex. Some people haven't had sex and it just helps them with acne.
And also birth control isn't 100, birth control may not work for everyone. Like, I have a family member where she was born off of birth control. She had a daughter while on birth control. It doesn't always work.
Also, some people can't take it. All the hormones in it, like people who have had breast cancer or are really prone to having breast cancer, can't take it because there's so many hormones in it. And sometimes the hormones can actually like hurt you more. So there's a lot of different ways you can protect yourself and others. So look into it. Or find an adult or somebody that you trust that can inform you of it. So, yeah. All right, well.
Please leave a like and a comment. Comment what you want to hear us talk about. We're on Instagram, The Phoenix Podcast. We're on Spotify, Anchor, and a bunch of other places that I can't name off. So you should come check us out.
Yeah.
Watch some of our other episodes. You'll actually see Brandon. Really cool guy.
Yeah. We have a lot of other guests that have been on, and we're hoping to have some more on, some returning guests.
Yeah,
so
we have some more guests planned to come soon. I can't wait to meet some of them.
Yeah. Can't wait to meet some more. We can meet people together. So, sign up for the ride, click that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Thanks. So,
Bye.
Bye.